What is up, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Terrible Financial Decisions that are guaranteed to make your significant other absolutely despise you. But anyway, we are back again with yet another little video here for you guys. But obviously, today's video is going to be more of advice than a review as such. Not really advice more than anything. No, scratch everything I've just said. It's a review. So we're going to be talking over a pretty awesome little speed loader, but we're going to talk about that in just a second. And that is obviously the PRC152, which is that thing over there. And as you guys have seen, the radio model, yes, I know it's a speed loader. We're going to talk about that now, but we'll get into it in just a second. So before I get into that and before I start talking about the 152, obviously by now pretty much anyone who's watching this video knows what a speed loader is. But for those of you guys who don't know, obviously you get multiple different types of magazines for airsoft. You get low cap, which I've never actually seen before with my own two eyes. They just simply don't exist in this country. You get high cap, which is pretty much what you're going to be getting out of pretty much any gun that you buy. Sorry, just excuse the weird cinematographics there, or cinematography, whatever that word is. So you get high caps, which is generally what you would get with most guns that guys buy, and of course mid caps. Now mid caps are pretty much this now. Okay, so obviously the main difference between, I should have actually brought a high cap out with me, but the main difference between a high cap and a mid cap is obviously a high cap fills in through the top or through a channel, and of course you have a little wheel that's normally on the bottom of the magazine, occasionally on the back of the magazine depending on what sort of magazine it is, but obviously every couple of shots you need to wind said wheel to feed the BBs up. Now mid caps don't work like that. They work on springs and channels, as you guys are seeing. Okay, that one's a bit dark, and actually so is that one, so scratch those two. We'll talk about this. Okay, so mid caps basically run on a channel and a spring, so therefore it holds roughly half the amount of BBs, give or take. But instead of you having a wheel that you now need to keep on pressurizing in order to feed your BBs through, it works off of a spring. And obviously, of course, once that spring is fully, sort of extended and all the BBs are out, your magazine is therefore empty. Pretty sure that's self-explanatory. And then obviously you would need to change mags. So generally speaking, most airsofters will sort of swap out to mid caps because of the realism factor, the fact that they get to reload a lot more often, because who doesn't like to pull off who doesn't like to pull off a saucy reload? There we go, I actually got my English subscription back. Okay, so from a realism point of view, most guys will go mid caps, but also high caps tend to rattle. They have a horrible sort of sound to them. They're not too bad when they're full, but obviously after a couple of engagements and that sort of BB level starts to drop a little bit, you do end up rattling, because obviously if this were a high cap, you don't have anything inside there. It's just all sort of free space, and all your BBs will just sort of slosh around side to side, and that obviously makes a lot of noise. And for any experienced player, they will tell you that they almost listen out for high cap rattle, and that is pretty much a dead on, almost 100% guaranteed point, or guaranteed method of finding someone. So just listen out for the high cap rattle. So anyway, now a trade-off when it comes to using mid caps is, of course, you're going to be needing a speed loader. Now there are different types of speed loaders. Obviously you get these, which are these sidewinders. Now these are sort of generally one of the most favored sort of speed loaders there are. So you would obviously load your BBs in through the top, and of course clip your magazine in like so and wind until your magazine is full. Now the issue with these is, of course, these are only compatible with AR style magazines. Now yeah, okay, it's not that big of a deal, but the other side of it is these things, or these sidewinders, are generally built in with what they call a clutch system. So obviously once the magazine is full, it will not continue loading BBs. It does work, yes, but only to a certain degree, because unfortunately we do see a lot of guys overloading their mags, and of course their springs overcompress, and then they end up with feed issues, and yeah, it's just frustration all around. So generally speaking, yes, it's fast, it's convenient, and these things hold roughly around about 1,000 BBs, so it's gonna stay full for a while. So yeah, generally speaking, yes, okay, it's not bad, but there are some trade-offs. You need to be a little bit more careful with them. You need to be a little bit more aware so that you don't overload your magazines, and you obviously need to pay a bit more attention, which let's be honest, airsofters don't like doing. So that being said, okay, so you get the sidewinders, and then you get your standard run-of-the-mill speed loaders that pretty much everyone knows. So obviously these come in two different sizes. You get these sort of big ones that hold about 350 odd rounds, and then you get the smaller ones which hold around about 100 rounds. Now the 100 round speed loaders are the ones we generally recommend, because more or less what ends up happening is 90% of the time mid caps like these, or pretty much any mid cap, are around about 140 rounds. Now with the smaller speed loaders, That's roughly 100 rounds per speed loader. So generally speaking, it's a nice safe point if you go with one speed loader per mag. You know, yes, okay, you're basically losing 40 odd rounds, but your springs still have enough space to sort of, you know, move and do their thing without over compressing, and of course leading to feed issues further down the line. So yeah, there are trade-offs when it comes to speed loaders. You've got to sort of, you know, figure out what works for you, and obviously what is going to work for you. So if you're one of these guys that like to just load up their mags on the go, and you know, you're not too worried about replacing mags every couple of months, sidewinders, go for it. You guys go right ahead. And obviously, of course, standard speed loaders, entirely up to you. But of course, there are multiple different ways you can do it. But now, where this is going to be appealing to most guys is, of course, given the fact that airsofters are inherently lazy people, we've spoken about this, we're going to be talking over the 152. Now, as you guys can see, it does look like a radio, and that is obviously why they call it a radio version or a radio model. So it does resemble a sort of military spec radio. There is a specific name for these, I just can't remember it now off the top of my head, so bear with me. But yes, so it obviously does look like a radio, which is a nice aesthetic, you know, because at the end of the day, we've said this many times on this channel before, airsoft is 90% a fashion show, and of course if you've got one of these things strapped to you, it's going to look legit. It genuinely is going to look like the real thing, which is pretty cool. And of course it comes with these awesome little mole sort of pouches, so of course you can carry this thing with you, but of course you're going to be in that same sort of territory as you would be with high cap mags, where you get that rattle. So yeah, not exactly the most ideal thing to be carrying onto the field with you, but if you are into that sort of look, definitely go ahead and grab yourself one of those for that reason exactly. But this thing's main function is, yes, believe it or not, it is a speed loader. It's one of those fancy electronic speed loaders, but I'm going to talk to you about that now. So in the package, first things first, you're going to get an extended antenna, which serves absolutely no purpose other than to look cool, because, I mean, okay, the camera's not going to pick that up, but it is, well, is it going to pick it up? Not really. Okay, it's hollow. Like, it is literally hollow, there's nothing in it. So like I said, it serves no other purpose other than just looking pretty cool, and of course it is fitted with the stubby area, so you do get the extended in the package, and of course this sort of little miniature package. Okay, so the battery for this one is obviously in the radio, but you do get a battery, and you get one of these little adapters. I still, to this day, have no idea how to use these things. So if any of you guys out there do know how to use one of these, drop it down in the comments below, because I cannot figure those things out, and I've been in this game for pretty much close on a decade now. So anyway, let's not talk about that. So yes, you are going to be getting a charger and a little LiPo battery with it, and of course one of those little adapters and one of these sort of mono things, but obviously we're not going to need that right now, so let's get rid of that. So there is your speed loader right there. Okay, so like I said, this is electronic, which is pretty cool. So again, like I said, airsofters are inherently lazy people, so this is basically going to remove any sort of effort that you guys are going to be having when it comes to loading your mags. However, a disclaimer when it comes to this thing: so this thing will not automatically pick up when your mags are full. Okay, so you need to sort of work it out for yourselves. Generally speaking, yeah, there is a way to do it, but obviously power it on through the side button there, and eventually just let it get out. There we go. So you see, that's pretty much how it does it. Obviously don't do that at home, your wife will kill you, guaranteed. Don't do that. Anyway, so obviously there are ways you guys can do it. You can pretty much work out how long it takes, more or less, to pump out the correct amount of BBs from the speed loader, and you can basically work it out there what is a safe loading point for your magazine. Otherwise, and now when I actually want to do a demo and it doesn't want to work. Oh, fantastic. Great. Now when I actually want to show you guys how to work it, it will not work for me. So, okay, so maybe it's my mag. Okay, but essentially what you want to do is obviously just, you know, if you press down on that, that is what operates your sort of feed mechanism. Good lord. That's the one downfall with airsoft, is you're going to have BBs everywhere. So of course, essentially, like I said, you can work out how long it's going to take to pump out the correct amount of BBs. Otherwise, you pretty much just do it by feel. So this might take a while, but Okay, you know what? Let's try it like this. I'm pretty sure I'm being a moron now. Okay, so essentially, obviously I'm not going to fill the whole mag, we're going to be here for a while. But essentially, that is how it works. So essentially, what you're going to be doing is obviously just put your mag onto the top there, press down, and that will feed your BBs through. But now, essentially, what I'm trying to say, the big thing that you guys are going to need to be aware of is obviously depending on the capacity of your magazines, you do not want to overfill these things, especially if you're using, well, expensive mags like this. The more often you overfill it, or the more often you compress these springs all the way down to the bottom of the chamber, the more likely it is that you guys are going to be developing feed issues within a short amount of time. I promise you guys, you'd be amazed how quickly these springs go, so do not overload them. So essentially, if you are going to be using one of these, if this is something that appeals to you, and don't worry, you can press these buttons all day, every day, nothing's going to happen. It's not like you're going to accidentally pocket dial someone or call a nuke in on your position accidentally, but anyway, so don't worry about that. So essentially, yes, it is a cool little feature to have, but you're going to be needing to be fully aware of what it is that you're doing. So essentially, don't just put it on and hold it there and just, you know, it'll stop on its own, it'll figure it out. No, pay attention to what you guys are doing. If this is something for you, don't overload your mags, and definitely go ahead and give this thing a check out, because it's actually, yeah, okay, it is a bit of a gimmick, but what's wrong with a gimmick? It's cool nevertheless, and it's just going to make your kit look that much more operator, as we say. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. And of course, if you guys use this little discount code right there, you're going to get yourself 5% off one of these PRC152 kits. And for all of you LARPing guys out there and you Milsim guys, I guarantee that's going to be something a little bit intriguing for you. So definitely go ahead and check it out. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next video. So guys, as always, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, keep us going, turn on the bell notifications to keep up with our following videos. And of course, as always, comments, likes, criticisms, whatever the case may be, is all welcome. Leave it down in the comments below. We will get to it eventually, I promise. So yeah, as always guys, we'll catch you in the next video. I'm Section, stay classy, and above all, call those hits. We'll see you then.